Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election held in Nigeria on February 25, 2023, and the result announced on March 1st, 2023. And the result is being challenged in the courts, presently at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, from where it will eventually get to the Supreme Court. And the beneficiary of that election is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was declared the winner of the election in controversial circumstances, which is now being challenged in court. However, he remains the president until the Supreme Court says otherwise, or until the court says otherwise. However, the fallout from the election keep on reverberating, and one of it is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been nominating ministers for his cabinet, and on Wednesday, August 2nd, he submitted the second batch, perhaps the last batch of his ministerial nominees. And for the first time in the history of Nigeria and since the creation of the Federal Capital Territory, an indigene of the Federal Capital Territory, an original indigene of the Federal Capital Territory, called Gisalo Zephania, was named among the ministerial nominee. So for the first time, an indigene of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, is becoming a nominee for the position of minister. And for the first time, FCT is nominating, and the minister is being nominated from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. On the surface, it looks okay, because the indigenous people of Abuja, they have been campaigning, pushing that just as ministers are appointed from each of the 36 states of the Federation as a constitutional requirement, that they also should be nominated. They should not be left out, that FCT should also produce a ministerial nominee and a minister. They have been pushing this for a very long time, as long as I could remember. They have been pushing for this. And they even went to courts in respect of this. And there is an appeal court judgment in their favor, saying that Abuja FCT deserve to have a nominee, a ministerial nominee. Okay? So on the surface, you can see that Tinubu seemed to have fulfilled that pledge, that expectation of indigenous people of Abuja to have a ministerial nominee and a minister from amongst them, from the FCT. It seems good, and it's a good thing, so that the indigenes of the FCT will feel a sense of belonging, even though the territory was their original territory before the federal government took it over. Okay? Because I know that in the original master plan of Abuja, there is not supposed to be left aborigines of FCT. When Murtala Mohammed and Akinola Aguda that came up with the idea of this Abuja, It was Murtala Mohammed, then Akiola Agoda, I think, was the chairman of the committee, and that had eminent people like late Professor Akim Mabu Gunje, a renowned professor of geography and all that, who were the initial people that conceptualized this FCT. Before it was, the master plan was contracted out to a firm from either Japan or one of these countries. The idea was that there would be nothing like indigenes left in Abuja, that the indigenes will be moved out to their adjoining states, so that Abuja will develop as a virgin land where nobody will claim indigenship, where all Nigerians are indigenes. Any Nigerian who reside in Abuja will be an indigene, can claim to be an indigene of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. You don't have to be an aborigine of Abuja to be an indigene in the Federal Capital Territory. But unfortunately, like everything in Nigeria, it didn't work out that way. Only few people were moved out of the capital. Because if you are traveling to Kaduna, you know there is a town called Sabon Wuse or New Wuse. Those are the people that were moved from the original Wuse that you know in Abuja. They were moved from their original inhabitants and moved them to the new Sabon Wuse, which is in Niger State. So those were the concepts, but it was later jettisoned because, like everything in Nigeria, it is done ad hoc. Nothing is actually accomplished as they ought to. At the end of the day, because they stopped resettling the indigenes. Okay, that is why if you go to the Federal Capital Territory Administration, there is a resettlement department that is in charge of resettling the indigenes. They're supposed to be in charge of resettling the indigenes. But now we're no longer talking about that. Government said it doesn't have money to resettle indigenes. So now we're talking about reintegrating the indigenes into the Abuja master plan. Okay. So that's why we find ourselves where we are today. That there are now the need to make sure that the indigenes have a sense of belonging. And so it is a good thing that an indigene was picked to represent the Federal Capital Territory as a minister. It had been a long battle, a long struggle for the indigenes of Abuja. And I can tell you, many of them will be very excited since this announcement was made on Wednesday. They will be excited, and they ought to be, because it has been a long struggle that they have been seeking for this. And Buhari couldn't give it to them, and other administrations couldn't give it to them. But they went to court and obtained a positive response, which was also upheld by the appeal court, which I don't think the government has appealed against it. So on the surface, it appears that Tinubu has done what the indigenes of Abuja want, to be recognized. And this recognition is based on Section 299 of the 1999 Constitution. And this Section 299 is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is standing upon to claim that he doesn't need 25% in Abuja. And I will tell you more about this after this small interruption, so to say, to ask you that if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you will be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. God bless you and yours. Now, you know that one of the reasons that the declaration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner of the 2023 presidential election is that he did not get 25% of the vote cast at the presidential election in Abuja. Section 134, subsection 2B stated that where two or more candidates contest for the office of the president, for anyone to be declared the winner of the election, the candidate must have majority of votes cast, that's A, majority of the vote cast in the election. B, must get 25% of the votes cast in two-thirds of the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. It is this section 2B that is the bone of contention, because as what Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not get up to 25%. And that issue of and had been interpreted by the Supreme Court in 2008, indicating that the and is conjunctive. So it is not optional, that you don't need that after getting 25% in two-thirds of the 36 states of the Federation, you must also get 25% in Abuja. And there have been several reasons adjudged why this is important, why the framers of Nigerian Constitution made it so. Because of the unique nature of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, that made it different from being a state. And if you go to the Constitution and see where they listed the states of the Federation, you will not see Abuja's name there, because it is not a state. However, in section 299 of the Constitution, Abuja, in terms of administration, in terms of revenue, they say it should be treated as if it is one of the states. But when it comes to election, the chapter that deals with election, how does a president emerge? He said that you must get 25% in Abuja. That section did not say Abuja should be treated as if it was a state. It must be treated as a separate entity that anybody who wants to be president must at least get 25% in Abuja. And there are a lot of reasons why this is so. Abuja is not a state. The president of Nigeria is the governor of Abuja. So it's common sense dictates that whoever is coming to be in charge of Abuja as president at least must be able to get 25% of the support of the residents of Abuja. Because the president is the governor of Abuja, so to say. The National Assembly makes law for Abuja. That is why during state governorship and state House of Assembly election, Abuja usually don't have such elections, because the president is like their governor. He superintends over their affairs through the minister who act on his behalf in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The budget of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, is passed by the National Assembly. National Assembly makes law for the Federal Capital Territory. These are some of the unique attributes of the Federal Capital Territory that distinguishes it from being a state. But the argument Tinubu and his lawyers are making at the courts or presidential election petition court is that Abuja is no different from any of the 36 states. They are banking on that section 299. You can go and look at their final written address and everything. They are banking on that section 299 of the 1999 Constitution that said that Abuja should be treated as if it were a state. But that has to do with the issue of administration, revenue, and all whatnot. But it has nothing to do in the selection of the president of Nigeria, which is an issue that is addressed in a separate chapter. And in that section 134, subsection 2B. So my thinking is that Tinubu implementing this appointment of an indigene of Abuja or somebody from Abuja to represent FCT in the ministerial list is another way to convince people that Abuja is treated as if it were a state. But that had not been the thinking of all the people that have been president of Nigeria thus far. But also, there is a appeal court ruling that favors the indigenes, that they should be able to be nominated. Abuja should be represented at the Federal Executive Council. Okay, but by coming up with this at this time, my understanding of this, my reading of Nigeria politics and the intrigues associated with as well Bola Ahmed Tinubu's politics, is that this is a ploy to show that Abuja is no different from any of the other states. So now they have nominated a minister in fulfillment of the ruling of a Court of Appeal. In other words, they want to use this to show that the position of the law that many people know, that for you to be declared the president of Nigeria, you must get 25% of the vote in Abuja, in line with section 134, subsection 2B of the Constitution. Now, Tinubu has used this privilege he has to show that, to give the impression that Abuja is like any of the states, that it is no different. And therefore, furthering the advancement of their plea before the courts, that it is not compulsory for you to get 25% or for them to get 25% in Abuja before they can be declared the winner of the election. That is my reading of this. I don't see this nomination of FCT indigene to the Federal Executive Council as an altruistic move by Bola Ahmed Tinubu to make FCT people feel good. I think he's trying to use it to justify the position of his legal team that Abuja is no different from any of the states. But whatever may be the case, the truth remains that several Supreme Court rulings have indicated in terms of presidential election that the "and" in section 134, subsection 2B is conjunctive. And if you look at the last written address of Labour Party legal team, they were able to convince any doubting Thomas, and they cited previous ruling of the Supreme Court to show that that and is conjunctive, and to show that getting 25% in the Federal Capital Territory is mandatory and not optional. And they also were able to convince anybody who read that their last written address, that you cannot take issue in section 299, which is a different chapter of the Constitution, and equate it with the issue of election in section 134, which is also dealing with a different chapter of the Constitution. That there are two different things altogether. So I do not think that it will be fair for the justices to now, because of that Court of Appeal ruling, and because of what Tinubu had done by appointing indigene of Abuja, that he can be able to save Tinubu from the requirement of getting 25% in Abuja, which is adjudged mandatory, compulsory, and previous rulings by the Supreme Court, which was cited by Peter Obi's lawyers and by Atiku's lawyers also, shows that it's compulsory that you must get 25% in Abuja before you could be declared the president of Nigeria, which INEC did declare Swaju as president. And it is interpreted that INEC did it in error. INEC did it deliberately and tell people to go to court. So let us see how it pans out. But my thinking is that Tinubu has done this to allegedly advance his interest, and also it's also in fulfillment of Court of Appeal ruling. You can't rule that out. But it will be unfair to compare section 299 and 134 and use that to justify that getting 25% in the Federal Capital Territory Abuja is no longer compulsory, or that and in that section 134 subsection 2b is no longer conjunctive. It means now a different thing altogether. That is my take on this particular issue. And in conclusion, my position is that the nomination of FC minister from the Federal Capital Territory Abuja is not altruistic. It is political. But let us wait and see whether that appointment will be able to influence the interpretation of section 134, subsection 2b, in respect of Bola Ahmed Tinubu's failure to get 25% in Abuja. Because that mandatory requirement is what Atiku Abubakar of the PDP and Peter Obi of the Labour Party, it's one of the grounds they are standing on to seek for the annulment of the election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But we'll wait and see what the justices of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal will say about this. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.